So we've looked at what reported speech is and how we have sentences in direct speech and reported speech. We also looked at how we can change, how we have to change certain things in order to convert direct speech to reported speech in terms of, adding words, removing quotation marks and commas, and regarding the pronouns. So now we're going to look at another rule when we convert direct speech to reported speech. That is in regard to words or expressions that talk about nearness in time or space. Now, if you take a look at this table over here, it will clearly give you all of the words that if it's in direct speech, what it becomes when you have the same word in your reported speech. For instance, words like now become then, yesterday becomes the day before, here becomes there. So if we take a look at an example, maybe you could say, she said, I'll be here. So if you convert this sentence from direct speech to reported speech, this will become, she said, she would or she'd be there. So this is because these expressions undergo that change, and using the chart that you have, you can, practice changing those words that denote your place or your time. So if I had, I'll be here tomorrow, then I would have written, she said she'd be there the day after, not tomorrow. So I hope that was clear. Now we move on to another change that happens when we convert sentences from direct to reported speech. So one is regarding the tense. So depending on the tense in your direct speech, you have to change it accordingly when you convert it to the reported speech. So if you have, there are two tenses where you don't have any change in the tense, and that's your past perfect tense and you have your past perfect continuous tenses. So these two tenses, if you see the sentence has those two tenses or like either of those two tenses, then they will not undergo any change from direct speech to reported speech. Now let's talk about the present tense. If you have, let's say, a sentence like this, she said, I am well. So you can clearly see this sentence is in the simple present tense. If you change this sentence to reported speech, it will become, she said that she was well. Did you notice what I did with the tense? This sentence was in the present, simple present tense. I converted it to the simple past tense. Similarly, for any direct speech which is in the present tense, we change the present tense to the corresponding past tense in the reported speech. What that means is, if I have a sentence in simple present, it will be changed to the simple past. If I have a sentence in the present continuous tense, it will become the past continuous tense in the reported speech. Same goes for present perfect, it will become the past perfect. So that is for your present tense direct speech parts. Now, what about past tense direct speech sentences? So let's take an example. Let's say we have, he said, I was ill. So here the sentence is in simple past, or we can take another example. Let's say he said she arrived yesterday, right? So take a look at this sentence, she arrived. So this is in the past tense, right? The simple past tense. Simple past tense will be converted to your past perfect tense in your reported speech. So here I would write, he said she had arrived yesterday. Or yesterday, again, it's an expression of nearness in time. So we changed that according to the table that we saw. She said she had arrived, he said she had arrived the day before. We don't use yesterday here. So you can see I have clearly changed the tense to past perfect. So when you have a sentence in simple past, it becomes, in the reported speech, it becomes past perfect. Now we move on to sentences in the past continuous tense. Let's say if we have something like, he said, I was listening to this. So we can write that here. Maybe he said, I was listening to a song, let's say. So if you change this sentence, which is in the past continuous tense, past because was, listening, ing form will give me the hint that it is in the continuous tense. So if this sentence is changed to your reported speech, it would be converted to your past perfect continuous tense. This will become, he said, he had been listening to a song. So we've looked at we've looked at present tense sentences, we've looked at simple past, we've looked at past continuous tenses. So now we'll move on and take a look at the future tense. So let's take an example of a sentence in the simple future tense. Let's say, he said, I will leave now. Right? So here you have the sentence in the simple future tense. In order to convert this from direct speech to reported speech, I have to change this to the present conditional tense. So conditional tense words include would, could, should, etc. So here this will become, this will turn to the present conditional tense. So we could change this to, he said, he would leave then. So now again, like we saw in the chart before regarding expressions of nearness in time and space, this is regarding time, so now becomes then. And you see that we've used the conditional word would. So simple future tenses are converted to present conditional tenses. Now what about the next tense that we have? We have the future continuous tense. So let's take an example. She said, I will be going to the concert, right? So in this sentence, you can clearly see that it's in the future continuous tense, will be, and ing form, going, tells me it's in the continuous tense. So in these sentences, we change the future continuous tense to the conditional continuous tense. That means again we make use of words like could, should, would, etc. So this becomes, she said, she would be going to the concert. So you can see here again I've used the word would. I've still taken the continuous tense here, which is in line with the future continuous tense over here. The only change is that I've turned this into a conditional sentence now, a conditional continuous tense sentence. Now we have to think about certain exceptions as well. Now we've looked already at your present tense becomes past tense. We've looked at instances of past tense and your past continuous tenses and how they change to the perfect forms. We've looked at future tense in simple future and future continuous. But whenever you have direct speech which is a universal truth, or it is generally held as true and not changing, then we maintain the tense of that direct speech when it's turned to reported speech. Let's take a look at an example. If you have a sentence like this, let's say the teacher said the earth is round. So we know that the earth is round regardless of time. So it's not going to change. It is a universal truth. It is held as true regardless of when we're talking about it. So here it would not change the tense. So if this is in the simple present, it will remain in the simple present. So it would change to the teacher. We hold the other rules as the same. So remove the quotation marks, remove the comma. You put a that if you want to or not. The teacher said the earth is round. You can see clearly I have not changed the tense of the direct speech. It is the same. It is still in the simple present tense. The earth is round, the earth is round, because I'm talking about a universal truth. Another exception that we have is when the reporting verb is in the present tense. What is the reporting verb? We already took a look at this before. So this word here, when we say, the reported speech or the reported part of a sentence, she said, he said, they said, etc. So the said is a verb, right? It's the action being performed. So this word is the reporting verb. If this reporting verb is in the present tense, then we do not change the tense when we're converting from direct speech to reported speech. Let's take one example to understand this better. Imagine I say, he says, go away. He says, go away. So we know that this is a reporting verb. So I know that if I have a reporting verb in the present tense, it won't go through a change. So I will say, he says to go away. Simple? So you can see I've not changed the tense of this part anyhow. It's still go away, go away. It's still in the simple present tense. So he says go away, he says to go away, or he says go away. So this was about how we transform sentences from direct speech to reported speech. And next we'll look at a little bit more about reported speech. Thank you for now.